And being the powerhouse that he is, Gabriel Netz also rolled a 12 there. So he will definitely start this top 8 match off by going first. And he's going to have a look into his Tielemans hand here. And on the other hand, Lukas is the only remaining Vanquish Soul player left in the tournament.
Not a lot of Vanquish Soul we've seen. The deck has been in and out of the meta a couple of times this past year. And he's managed to pilot it all the way through.
Oh, when Gabriel has to start with Merle,
we have a follow-up, okay.
It's usually a bad sign, but there is the Mothman that is immediately going to be activated. What are we hitting here?
We've got a danger engine of sorts being played here.
Dangerous play,
oh,
and
that's
no.
unfortunate.
Wow.
Hits itself. Does he choose to draw? They do, okay.
Turns into a Dark World Dealings, one of the cooler cards from back in the day.
It always feels kind of bad when you have to make your opponent cycle their deck like this, but we're choosing what we're going to discard here. Are we going to reveal at the same time? All right, we're just deciding the semantics of how we discard.
Nobody wants to discard. Okay, it's a malicious.
That's not bad.
That's
okay.
a good discard indeed for Gabriel there.
Lukas discards Imperm, by the way.
I was going to say, what does that make you think if you're Gabriel? Like, my opponent is so comfortable with their hand.
Razin, Ash, and 2 other negates or something.
Yeah, like, what
his hand must be correct.
Imperm is the worst card.
I mean, if I look at the hand of Lukas, I gotta say he's main decking 2 cards that probably were a big help for him in the Tielemans matchup throughout the entire tournament, because there is Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion and DD Crow. He runs both of those.
Yeah, not bad. Those are definitely really important points in this matchup, because the Bestials, notably throughout all of last year when Power of the Elements came out, Tielemans was the deck to challenge, and then after the release of the Bestials, in the following set, it was a really important aspect of the mirror match, was when do you use your Bestials. And okay, all right, DD Crow.
There is the DD Crow.
That's a clutch move from Lukas there to prevent the summon of a Beatrice, I think.
Yeah, so a couple of sort of main interactions there. At the same time, DD Crow being held.
Oh, but there is a...
Sharon gets Ash with
my
3
goodness.
disruptions from Lukas here. So we saw Vanquish Soul earlier this weekend. It's got, we saw Super Heavy Samurai sort of mixing in there. This is basically a pure Vanquish Soul deck with like a ton of defensive and non-engine, right?
Well, the thing about Vanquish Soul is you need to have lots of different attributes. So you can't afford to play too many spells and traps, so some players choose to mix in with different engines.
Is that a pass? Sure, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It looked like a pass to me. Also, I want to talk about one situation here. Lukas could have also just banished the Malicious, couldn't he? And then with that, he would have also prevented 2 level 6 monsters coming to the field, because now there still is a Druid's Worm in hand. Oh, but we can keep on going. We banish the Shiren, which is definitely unusual for the Tielemans Kashtira.
Milling free. Mills 2 as a 3-2, and it's getting sent to the graveyard. Okay, gonna do a little shuffle up here. Tielemans is, you know, such an exhilarating deck to watch. It's always these random moments that are either exciting or disappointing. There's a Rhino.
Can we trigger Rhino? No, we cannot. He has immediately shake his hat, and there is no way he can do something with it. Do we even have a way to go even further here? Because usually, of course, Sprite Sprint would be a way to get into Merle, but Merle is the one we already have on the field, so there is no use in that.
Going to be a real test here for Gabriel to figure out how to continue from this situation.
You know, I was going to ask, do you think Lukas is worried at all in this matchup? I mean, you have Gabriel, who's honestly become such a titan of UK Yu-Gi-Oh! At this point. Like, he is absolutely been dominating the circuit for the past year or so, and he's, you know, really well accomplished player. Totally. Do you think there's some nerves here?
Oh, he also said it was his first feature match.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
but this is all he has to face. I mean, Lukas, if he has access to the most powerful Vanquish Soul monster there is, which is Raisin, or maybe Stake Your Soul with a good combination of attributes, then he is good to go.
That's
or
a good
Prosperity!
Start. Huge pickup there. 3 disruptions into Prosperity. I mean, what we can see here is exactly what Vanquish Soul is supposed to do. You have like 1-2 card interactions, a bunch of defensive cards, staples like Prosperity, and it's ideally just enough to stun your opponent if you lose the dice roll, and then you want to see that Razin off the top.
Oh, that's Borger. That is Ghostbound Haunted Mansion. We talked about it. He's playing that.
There is the Durendal there, which should get
Durendal
into
is the way
Razin.
into Razin. Yes, indeed.
Remember, of course, you can equip it to any monster on the field. You don't need to use your normal summon, so that is going to be used on the Dark here.
Okay.
That's the 5th copy of Razan. 5 is the magic number.
And we are going to get the card we so desperately needed. And I think Lukas already working out the lines he's about to take. I think he's good to go here because Gabriel really does not look like he tries to interrupt him.
Well,
and I think the card in hand is known, right?
Yeah,
it's the Druid's one still.
Yeah. Putting the Razan there, it's important for Vanquish Souls what column you put your monsters in, because the Razan can destroy monsters in the same column as itself.
Yeah,
so
true.
I guess like you don't really want to destroy the Merly or the Dark Charmer, so might as well destroy that DD Crow for what it's worth.
Vanquish Soul almost feels like a mixture of Mathmag and Neck Knights, right? Because it's very similar to Mathmag in its way that you only need one card to play, similar to Mathmag Circular. But also with the zones, you have to pay attention to that because it's very similar to the Mag Knights there. Okay, let's keep on going.
Would you say Razan is stronger or weaker than Circular?
In this particular case, because we only have one Vanquish Soul deck and 0 Mathmag decks, I will go with the Vanquish Soul strategy.
There's the destruction coming down by the reveal of Razan there.
Oh yeah, getting his own card back into the graveyard.
So I'm trying to rack my head here. Is there like a nice, clean, efficient way of dealing with the Dark without triggering its effect?
Yeah, I don't think so. That's, I suppose, one of the main weaknesses of this deck. It kind of struggles to deal with targeting, destruction, and graveyard floating.
I mean, there would be the way to get 2 level 4s onto the field, then go for Zodiac Borbo, or rather first Chakanite and then Borbo, and go for Zeus line. That would be an efficient way to clear the Dark, but that would also trigger the Merly. I mean, we could run over the Merly with something else, though.
I think maybe the Vanquish Soul deck can access Abyss Dweller as well if you got 2 level 4s. That might be an even nicer thing to do.
Yeah, true.
I'm assuming Abyss Dweller's in the extra deck of anyone who can make it this weekend.
Absolutely true. So, Gabriel Nats, after such an impressive month that he had, now not really looking super good here as Lukas is performing a Link 1 summon into his Rock of the Vanquisher.
Yeah, this Link 1 is really, really strong here. I mean, it's everything you would need in a Link 1. It just kind of does everything, doesn't it, Tom?
Yeah, so once per turn you can add a Vanquish Soul from your graveyard to your hand, or you can special summon a monster from your hand. I'm kind of interested why he didn't use the effect there to add back the Caesar Valius.
That's all she wrote. He just passes on the rock and nothing else. Interesting. Gabriel maybe still with a shot in this.
Is there a reason? Can we get a Rock of the Vanquisher maybe and have a look at the effect?
Yeah, he could have just added it back if he wanted to. Okay, now we are going to use the effect to special summon though. We are going for the Razan, and I think when we summon the Razan there in this column, that means we probably want to destroy the Dark, right?
It's a bit odd to want to destroy the Dark here, I think, right? Giving your opponent a
search.
Yeah, it's a bit rough.
Yeah, you'd almost rather, I mean, would you rather that or them have, I mean, they're going to get the DD Crow back again. It's going to have a long journey. That DD Crow.
Well, all the tier limit names are at 1, so there's not too much that you can really hope to go through here once you've kind of attacked over one of them. There's Rhinos in the graveyard, he's still at 3. Water, however, so you can't search that.
It's just Havness left in the deck.
Pretty much, yeah.
Sharon's already been given up.
Yeah.
You could technically also search for something like Destiny Hero Denier or something, but I don't know whether that is going to bring you too
okay,
far.
It does pop the Dark, and it is now going to trigger the effect here to search.
Oh, we are just using our Ash Blossom onto it, though. So we had an answer to that, and that was the play all along.
I like that double value out of the Ash, like a 1-2 punch. First I'm going to reveal it to destroy a card, then I'm going to discard it to negate the effect.
Yeah, absolutely. So now comes the Druid's Womb. We knew about that card. There's still one unknown card left in the hand of Gabriel Nats here. But first of all, the Druid's Womb will resolve banishing the DD Crow. In the battle phase, we find ourselves running over the Razan, and it's going back to Lukas here. In his first featured match ever, his first top 8 appearance at a YCS, but still really fighting here against Gabriel Nats, the veteran of the game.
Doesn't do a lot here because we've just added back the Razan, re-normal summon it again, and wow, I think he's really starting to take command here, isn't he, Tom?
Yeah, that Rock of the Vanquisher just amassing value like turn after turn is going to add back a card or special summon a card.
Oh, there's Borger now as well in rotation.
Heavy Borger, one of the few decks that have in-engine burn win conditions, should that ever be necessary when heading into time.
You like that burn effect. I like drawing a card more
It's a
than burning
lot, isn't
mine.
it? It's like 12 or something?
15.
Right? 15, right, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty huge as well because even though it is just 15, you can do it once during your turn. It's a quick effect, so you can do it again during your opponent's turn.
A little bit of battle damage there. You can put yourself
3,000.
super far ahead.
It's going slow and easy here. We are running over the Druids that is going to trade with the Borger. The Rock also went into the graveyard and it's back to Gabriel with an empty field here.
Trading blow for blow here as the players.
Oh, danger. Nessie was picked up. Let's roll the dice.
2 cards in the hand. Here we go. Hits a 1. Is it Nessie? Okay, we get another chance. We get one.
Oh, but I think he's playing a very small package. Is there even a card to search out?
Surely
he's not
there's
activating
no
the Nessie. There's no target in
There's
there.
no target.
He's only playing Nessie and 1 Mothman. He started things off with the Mothman, so no more card to be searched. Back to Lukas, and he's back with the Rasen, searching out Pantera there.
This is unbelievable. I guess that would just be your 39th and 40th card, I guess. Just throwing in these dangers. No Jackalope, no Tsuchinoko.
Nope.
Oh, look at this burn damage. He's going to push.
I think the issue is there's just not enough good discards anymore with all of the names being limited, I suppose.
Pretty much. So Borger gets linked off and Gabriel has seen enough. Lukas going second, taking down game number 1 here of our top 8 feature match. And the crowd loves this Underdog story that is developing right now. Lost the Vanquish Soul player who's just won game number 1.
I just can't believe that we opened 3 disruptions like that.
Insanity.
Gabriel hung on there for as long as he could, tried to maybe get a little bit fortunate with the danger, and unfortunately it wasn't enough to really claw that one back. That was just too much resources for Vanquish Soul.
Yeah, he had so many disruptions, like he even discarded one. Like, it's like, I don't
did
need this
care,
other imperm as well.
I mean, the other cards were pretty nice, so I think he was okay with that overall. I mean, of course, as well, Lukas is German, so he has the home turf advantage here, so the crowd is cheering for him, cheering for one of the remaining Germans in the tournament. But I mean, on the other hand, Gabriel also had a lot of people cheering for him when he kept on going. I think he's also a favorite in the community, so definitely 2 very deserved top 8 players here.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be quite the event, and for a game that never really got going for tier limits, I think Nets is going to be quite disappointed that things didn't really go our way with getting the Mothman sniped on the 1 and 4, and then the Nessie 50-50. But he's no stranger to pressure. He's definitely going to keep his head down and focus up on this matchup here, because there's absolutely no way he's out and down right now, is he?
Yeah,
Definitely not.
One thing I'm intrigued by is I'm not seeing any shifters in the list.
No, he has decided to just run the DD Crow, just run the Ghost Spell. He decided that is enough, we don't need the shifter, and so far it works out like a charm, so you cannot really blame him for it. On the other hand, I have to say, Gabriel has made some really interesting decisions in his extra deck. I see, and I haven't seen that one for a long time, Barmut Shark plus, totally awesome. Maybe we see this here in his opening turn. I think that's a pretty neat package to bring, but let's see whether he's going to bring it on here in game 2 of this match. Players are ready, as we are. I hope you guys at home are too. Game number 2 getting underway now.
So you guys might be able to hear the crowd at home. That was actually just Leo.
It absolutely wasn't, no. It absolutely wasn't. So, Gabriel, he had multiple plays in his first turn. Oh, that's a good start.
Huge. Do we have Rhino Heart as well?
Or is
Best
it
normal
Merly
summon
again?
to pair up with it. That works out really nicely. Okay. Rhino Heart Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2 Scream. You get to mill first before deciding whether or not you want to send a specific name in case you hit a duplicate or, you know, a different target there.
Imperm on the
comes down,
Rhino.
so we have to get a little bit lucky here. Here we go. This is where tier limit gets... Trivic Karma!
Okay.
Not bad,
The
not
last
bad.
card is saving it. The Trivic Karma is huge there.
All right, Trivic Karma acting as a field spell search there for the Perla Rhino, and that's going to get you another name. The name probably of choice is Sharon. Yeah,
I mean, Sharon being at 1 is not really a problem when you have 3 field spells and
ways to
the
mill,
Trivic Karma that can be milled to search it.
Now the question is, do we have a good card to discard with Sharon? Is it going to be Keldek or Regido? Shadow Piece, not bad. Not bad.
Okay, that
Cash
will be more
tier,
milling.
a Shuffler, all right.
Wow, 3 relevant mills there.
Okay, Shuffler's not super incredible against Vanquish Soul, but enough to maybe be a little bit annoying with the Rock of the Vanquish Soul recycle.
Yeah.
We do have a target for Rhino Heart.
That's nice. That's really good. And then milling more with the Telemans Kashtira as well, starting with the draw first of all, though. Of the Shadow Beast.
Another Rhino Heart. And a second Shuffler as well.
Okay.
Discards the Sullik, all right.
So it will net him another surge there. Rhino Heart being summoned out. Of course, we cannot use the effect anymore. Even though the first one was negated, we cannot activate the second one here as it's once per turn.
There was a card you just highlighted in Gabe's extra deck, so do you think we're about to see it now?
Ooh, Barmwood Shark is looking lovely here. Not gonna lie, now I understand why he summoned out the second Rhino Heart there. Because the surge he gets from Salik here does not seem super promising to me, honestly. It might probably just be the Telemans Kashtira. Yeah, he's considering that there very heavily. I
think he wants to get the mills going first before deciding what to commit with the rank 4, because of course you've got Redoer to trigger the Sharon if you need as well.
True, yeah. That's actually correct. So, Gabriel, of course, a master of the deck, has been playing this deck for
Since
a while
its inception,
now.
yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
I think the most important thing as well is like you can really tell the difference between, you know, the average tier 11 player and, you know, a phenomenal tier 11 player. Like the way you sequence your decision making and your mills based on your mills, I think is really telling. You know, while it is a deck that requires a lot of quote-unquote luck, there is a degree of ways to create your own luck per se.
Yeah, there is the totally awesome we were talking about. So we secured ourselves from another interruption, and now the Telemans Kashtira. Are we going to hit something additional here? We have not had Agido or Kelbeck. Is it time for those here?
We're looking for those...
Gabriel saying, do you want to cut, you know, just before? There's definitely a Kelbeck on top, you know?
All right, say it with me, crowd. Do we have a Guido here? Here we go. There's the cut. And we're looking for one of the millers here. Spell, crime. We got a Guido! We got a Guido!
The crowd loves it! We are going to continue milling here until the end of days. Guido will mill 5 more cards, and Lukas immediately grabs the deck, being like, okay, sure, let's keep this going here from my side as well.
It's a scream as well, not bad.
A bit of an underwhelming Guido, only one scream, well, 2 scream, but you can only use the one of them. The crime is quite a useful mill, actually, letting him add back the banished Telemans Kashtira.
Yeah, more resources in the hand, as well as a discard for crime if we can get to crime at some point, maybe with like a heartbeat mill. We'll see just exactly what this end field will look like. Interesting if we put the Bahamut Shark in the EMZ. I think maybe we're going to use that, potentially into like some sort of cross sheep line?
Yeah, cross sheep I'm thinking. You can then maybe use one of the shufflers. I know you said that it's not particularly helpful as disruption, but you can use it on your own turns, trigger the Pearl Rhino, which can then pop the Shiren and make a fusion summon that way.
Yeah, for sure. That's the Pearl Rhino's sort of way to describe it, I guess. The versatile effect of it, not only do you get a search whenever you return a card from your graveyard to your main deck, typically that's through fusion summoning, but if you use a shuffler, you can also trigger it manually whenever you like. So not only are the shufflers not super great into Vanquish Soul, when you combine it with the field spell, yeah, you have a lot of utility.
The way Gabriel is moving his cards there, it seemed like in his first turn he's just attacking the entire field of good old Lukas, but there's of course no room for a battle phase yet in our first turn.
Yeah, he was telling a story there, I think.
So Gabriel immediately in his opening turn just going to shuffle back some of his own cards, probably trying to trigger the Pearl Rhino, and then in consequence probably going to destroy his own Shiren, right?
I like that. Just doing kind of order of priority there. Just like, first of all, I must send back 1 Telement card, and then I'm going to check my opponent's graveyard, see if there's anything relevant. Then I'm going to put back the best cards in my graveyard, which looks like the Agido.
Yep, let's have another Mill 5 party next turn, so already setting up for that.
Yeah, this is what I mean about like you know, watching a really good tier element player pilot this deck. You know, you're not just like blindly milling and hoping for the best. Like there's a lot of degree of foresight that is required to make sure that you're always maximizing your chances of having really good plays, just based off of how you recycle. And this is one great example here, as we're going to trigger the Sharon in the graveyard to do exactly that play you described, Tom.
And Shiren. What are we even going for here? That's Shiren plus Magnamood. Oh no, it was Nasty, okay. Shiren plus Nasty would just immediately net ourselves a Rukalos, right?
That's a Mud Dragon.
Oh, true, it's no Mud Dragon, no, yeah.
Why not make Kikalos?
Yeah, she's not with us anymore, I'm sorry. But no, of course, no Rukalos. It would be the Mud Dragon, as you say, first
You
of
could
all.
make a Kaleido Heart here.
And that's what we go for, indeed.
Yeah, Kaleido Heart on the opponent's turn as well is going to be really strong. If you want, you can use a Shuffler, return, pop your own Kaleido Heart. Kaleido Heart will come back, spin your opponent's card, and then get a mill in the process. So even without the all-important Kikalos that Tearlament lost many moons ago, it's still actually a deck that's proving itself to be quite you know, quite powerful and versatile despite that. Another Link summon being made here with the cross sheet. What are we making?
It just keeps going, doesn't it?
Spreads.
Sprint
All right.
from early.
Let's keep the fusion summoning party intact. Of course, Merly was not used yet, so it's time for her to also get the fusion summon it deserves.
So I'm wondering what we're going to make here. There's a level 4 option, I suppose. With okay,
maybe we just use the denier,
Sure.
and then we are going to fusion summon into
dangerous.
the dangerous.
Yeah, I
Is
like
it
the way-
dangerous? Is it dystopian?
It is dangerous.
Yeah, it's
Dangerous,
dangerous. I like the way
yeah.
like you fusion summon. You're basically fusion summoning Beatrice here, right? Because the dangerous fetches you a malicious.
Fusion summoning Beatrice.
Does that sound like a happy thing for you to do? You're
Yes,
going to start playing Tear Elements now that they can fusion summon Beatrice.
Malicious was in the graveyard here, combining with 2 6s. Beatrice as well on your opponent's turn if you want to potentially go for a dedicated mill, you know, sending one of your names to fusion summon, potentially
now,
up
yeah.
into a Dracostapelia, or my favorite thing to do.
Heartbeat's graveyard effect, of course, is to add back a trap. So we gave up the Salik earlier on, but we also milled the Crime. So we had the choice here between the two, and we decided to go for the Crime, which probably is the better choice because it's an Omni Negate. So we will end on Toad and Crime here. 2 Omni Negates is really, really powerful.
You were disappointed in Adir, weren't you? You really wanted to see a Kelbeck there. I could hear it.
I know, right? I was going to say, like, opening up the box, you know, feels kind of nice. But I guess Gabriel isn't feeling super lucky here. Just going to go with the Heartbeat, you know, because here's the thing. If you send Kelbeck, you're going to hit the Heartbeat anyway, right?
Always.
That's
usually
what
how
I
it works.
thought, right? Okay,
Ooh, that's a good
immediately
start.
going for the Fenrir. That's indeed a very good start versus the Telemans deck. Do we go for Scream? Of course we do.
All right, what do we got here? Foolish, Havness, and Nessie.
Okay, Havness is good
That's
enough, I
really
guess.
strong.
Yeah, that's going to trigger the Kaleido Heart and the Havness, which is going to let you summon Dragostapelia. And the Fenrir is just gone, just like that.
A lot of disruption. Oh, we're picking up our cards here. Game number 2 goes to Gabriel Nets with that incredible Tearlament opening there. It didn't really feel like his hand was really that incredible. It, you know, it didn't seem like this was absolutely crazy, but he managed to, like, you know, maximize the value of his mills and got, you know, the best out of his field. And in the end, he ended up with 2 Omni Negates, Kaleido Heart as disruption, a Shuffler. He had everything he really needed.
Yeah, it just developed further and further and further. He was seeing more and more options while he was going through the turn. I'm wondering whether he had all of that lined up already before, or whether he just came up with something spontaneous and he was like, yeah, that's 2 Omni Negates and a Kaleido Heart. Let's do that.
I feel like there's like lots of different ways to the same end field with this deck. I think you kind of know what you're going to achieve. You know, first you start with the Bahamut if you can, and then get that cross sheep, get the Kaleido Heart going.
Yeah, totally. But what do you guys think about the inclusion of Bahamut Shark and Totally Awesome? Does that deck really need an additional Omni Negate? What's the card you're most afraid of when you are playing Tearlaments?
I think that one of the alternative engines that you can run in Tearlament is something like the Zodiac package. That does take up a lot of spaces because you have to go and dedicate to Chakanine plus Borble plus Zeus. So I think by cutting that out, I suppose Gabriel probably was under the impression he was going to be playing a lot of stun, too many rogue decks, and kind of focused on the more combo-oriented aspect of his deck building.
I like that. That's fair. Against combo decks, maybe in the mirror, it's pretty good. I mean, in the mirror, you usually probably want to go for Abyss Dweller. Since the beginning of days, that was the popular choice because the graveyard is all this deck is all about. But yeah, maybe on top of that, a Bahamut Shark, why not?
There's just been so many tools in the Tearlament strategy that have just kind of, you know, been removed, I suppose. You know, we used to play things like Curious, we used to play things like Sprite Elf, but, you know, sayonara. So we've just sort of adapted those combo lines with all of these different additions, and Bahamut Toad is 2 cards. It's not a small tax in a 15-card extra because it's really tight, but Gabriel has probably found that it is enough for him to warrant their spots. So
yeah, you got a lot of bang for your buck with it, I think, because you can negate anything. If you're negating something like a Talents or a Thrust, you can set it to your own field, use it again next turn. You also get to add back a water monster when the Toad is sent to the graveyard, so that could be a follow-up Rhino Heart or Tearlament's Cashier. So it really feels like you get quite a lot of value out of it. Plus, you still get a link material for the Bahamut Shark. So when you put that all together, I think that warrants 2 slots in the extra deck.
Definitely.
But let's not count out Lukas. You know, he's got a couple of you know, interesting cards in his side deck for this matchup, right?
I have some interesting questions here. So first of all, there can be only one already in his main deck, which is usually a dedicated going first card. Do you like it versus the Tearlaments deck, though? Do you think that card is going to stay in his main deck?
No, I think Tearlament adapts really well to the different typings and stuff, and
Yeah.
I think Gabriel himself is...
He is signing that card,
So-
that's what I was about to say. Actually, he is a fan of the card himself. But another card that Lukas could replace it with from the side deck is Dimensional Barrier. And Fusion deck players are fearing this card since the beginning of days, and therefore, I think this is definitely going to come in.
For sure. I'd really like to see a dimensional shifter in the side deck. I'm a little bit confused why it's. It feels like it's such a powerful card. Players have been going out of their way to include it in almost every strategy. We've seen it in Labyrinth. We've seen it in Sprite. We've seen it in anything that doesn't. Doesn't need the graveyard. And I'm a bit confused by it, I must say.
We'll see if it comes back to bite Lukas in the end for not for forgoing playing such an important card. Regardless of the meta, there's always going to be decks that require the grave. So we'll see if that ends up being to his downfall for this, as our players are shuffling up, ready to begin game number 3 at this YCS Dortmund 2023 Top 8. Let's head to the table.
For one of those two, this will be the last game they have in this tournament. The other one is going to move on to top 4, and the crowd is ready for this. I hope the viewers at home are as well. And Lukas is studying his hand, working out a way to set up a field here that is bringing him into this top 4 match. And he has a reinforcement of the army, which is a way into Vanquish Soul Rasen.
Most important card in the deck here, it's the Heart and Soul. It's how you get to the rest of your engine, and of course you can end up with that Rock of the Vanquisher as well with your setup with just a singular card and 4 others in his hand. Will it be an... Oh, that's a huge pickup there.
We like that start. Lukas will have another look. Top 6 cards of his deck. Not too shabby.
Yeah, Rasen by itself, actually, I think can access you Abyss Dweller, so maybe that's the strategy here. If you summon the Rasen, make the Rock, and then you summon the Rasen and search Mad Love, make the Rock, and then the Rock can summon Mad Love, which then searches the Quick Play Monster Reborn.
Okay.
Vanquish Soul, maybe?
Let's have a look. Ash Blossom, also good, of
barrier.
course. Oh, there's the barrier.
You didn't even think about that.
I think he didn't even look at the other 3 cards he revealed. He was like, oh yeah, there's D-Barrier. Let's definitely take that one.
I've never seen someone pick up a trap card faster than Lukas just did, so makes sense. You know, there's a couple of tools available to you under D-Barrier with Tearlament.
We can't search the continue there.
Why would you need Dimension Shifter when you can just have Dimensional Barrier, right?
So, you know, there's a few ways you can sort of do things under Dimensional Barrier, like the Zodiac engine I mentioned, but, you know, Gabriel isn't playing that, so he might feel a little bit weaker in this particular scenario here, because I feel like Gabe's list is very much reliant on resolving those graveyard effects of the tiers.
Yeah, it feels like there's a lot of things you can do that aren't fusion summoning, but it feels like the main focus is the fusion summoning.
It kind of gets you there to
facilitate the fusion summoning.
Absolutely, that's true. So Lukas still a little nervous because, as we know, his first featured match, he immediately grabbed the spell card with the Rasen, but that's not how those cards work, so he had to grab the Dr. Madlove first, and now he gets to the continue in the follow-up.
Yeah, just one step ahead of himself there. First you've got to get the Mad Love, and then the Mad Love gets the continue.
Yep, so now Rock also on the field. We go, continue to reborn the Rasen, and as you were already anticipating, that would net ourselves 2 level 4 monsters, and it does resolve what is the rank 4 of choice. There we have it. We are Exceed Summoning, and of course, a Best Dweller, the all-around powerhouse against the Tearlament's deck. Oh,
2 set
followed
cards
by
as
2
well.
set cards.
Yeah, Abyss Dweller has been an impactful card almost since its release for, I don't even know how long, like 10 years or something.
Oh, does the Dweller resolve? Yep, it does certainly look like it.
Lukas does not even hesitate there as he activates that Abyss Dweller, forgoing any sort of playing around triple tactic talents.
We could have played it in the standby phase.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You can't use talents if your opponent uses a monster in the standby
Exactly,
phase.
so he's using it immediately.
That's what he did.
You said
he played around it.
playing around talents.
Oh, sorry, I guess I worded that
But
wrong.
Pearl Rhino is not too bad.
Oh, Pearl Rhino is a huge pickup here, yeah. This is a good way to start your start off with your normal summon Rhino Heart or your Sharon special summon if you need it. I feel like that's almost always the go-to, right?
Yeah, and I mean, we were talking about Gabriel not including the Zodiac cards, but still, of course, he is including the Divine Arsenal Zeus. Oh my god. And maybe he finds a way into that here, and then he could just clear the entire field.
Yeah, I mean, all you really need to do is, you know, attack into your opponent's Xe monster, right? Because Lukas has kind of done that part of the job for us. question is, can we do it through 2 set cards?
What I like it.
Mill 6.
Okay, okay.
all right. Let's see what's in the box here.
I mean, the box is significantly less fun when none of the effects can activate.
True, but it might give us enough setup on our opponent's turn, potentially, if we have more ways to trigger plays there.
Oh, we are chaining the Rock of the Vanquisher. Either to special... Yeah, we do special summon out the Rasen, which is an interesting decision because we now have committed to one zone that Rasen is in. So as long as Gabriel does not summon into that zone, it's going to be rough.
That's unfortunate. We hit Kelbeck under Dweller. That's rough. Do you not like Rasen being summoned in the same column as the Scream, or is it only monsters it destroys?
Only destroys monsters.
Only monsters,
so
yeah.
a Pantera destroys spells and traps.
Okay, okay.
Searching out the Valius.
That was a very heads-up side deck option there from Gabriel. Did you see the
XY Encore? Yeah. Do you think it's there for Dweller?
Exactly.
For sure.
Must be.
Yeah.
I mean, that just goes to show you just how far ahead in the deck building, I suppose, people like Nets are, right? You know, because they play XE Encore probably for Pearly, but then you can also notice that, hey, well, in this matchup, you know, my opponent's probably going to make a Dweller, so it has that crossover.
Yeah, and it's even good versus Unchained, where you can just take out the Caesar. So really, XYZ Encore looks like the maybe best option of the entire weekend for side-decking purposes, and I saw it in a lot of side decks throughout the entire weekend.
Yeah, I mean, typically, you know, Herald of the Abyss is the go-to because it's just kind of nice to be able to search with Thrust, but of course, being a quick play spell with Encore, that isn't possible.
Yeah, you have more applications with it in the end.
One thing I do like about tournaments, even if you are locked out of your fusion summoning and your normal styles of play, between Scream and Polar Rhino, like, your monsters are just bigger than your opponents almost all of the time.
Yeah, it shouldn't be understated just how important that deficit of, you know, 500 plus 500, you know, that's a big gap, right? Like, typically if you were to summon something like Window, which we've seen people do, like, a 2700 Window when you're minus 500 is huge.
Totally is. So Gabriel still has to consider that he's only allowed to attack the monster with the highest attack on Lukas' side, because that is what Rock of the Vanquisher says. But still, that is not too high at the moment, so I think we can deal with it.
Dweller is the highest right now, isn't it?
It should be.
Rasen is 1800.
Oh.
Rasen's 18, okay.
Fair enough then. Oh, but Gabriel moving on to sadding a couple of cards, and that's usually not a good sign because that is kind of suggesting that it's the end of a turn. There comes Rasen now, or probably Borger targeting a Rasen, right?
Yeah, looks like it.
Oh, it is the Borger indeed.
Revealing 2 for the burn effect. That's a very... That's sending your opponent a message, you know. I'd rather do 1500 than draw a card. That's that's an intense message right there.
15 minutes left. I don't know if Lukas is feeling like this is going to last that long, but yeah, I think maybe a draw could have been a little bit more valuable.
I mean, it makes it very much feel like his aim is to end the game on the next turn.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it looks like it. You have Dweller on the field, so you have a way to just prevent anything that is going to happen by Gabriel. Maybe there's another XYZ Encore. Did he draw cards? He didn't really.
Super polymerization!
That's a good one, because that could take away the Abyss Dweller right away.
Oh,
and
no, he doesn't go for the Dweller. All right.
Is there any way even to fuse the Dweller away? I don't know.
Probably not, I suppose.
Otherwise, he probably would have taken the choice there to get rid of it.
Because super polymerization, most important of all, is that it can be responded to. So by getting rid of Dweller, you'd be able to, like, you know, stop your opponent from preventing your graveyard effects. But obviously, we just don't have a legal target for it.
Yeah, sadly not. So Gabriel now has summoned the Mud Dragon, and he's probably also going to be able to trigger the Scream through that, but we can just chain the Dweller, right? But maybe there's, like, Saldic Sat here would be huge, actually.
Oh, and something's coming, Darren. Oh,
it looks like Sonic to me! That is Sonic for Gabriel Nets! That is strong!
Oh, that is incredible, yeah. That is a dream go second situation, I suppose, for Gabriel, right? I mean, you are... Like, Dweller lasting 2 turns is really what is, like, the kicker about Dweller. You know, I think Dweller would be good enough if it was 1 turn, right? And then when you have 2 turns as well, it's really hard for a combo deck to be able to survive that long. But because we have Sulik, you're able to chain to the Dweller and get some of your graveyard effects off on this turn.
And all of a sudden, we're in. We're sending Merly to the graveyard, and we can even activate and resolve the effect. But first of all, let's mill 3 cards for Scream, but that's a swing and a miss there for Gabriel Nats.
It's unfortunate we didn't hit a Guido there. The Kelbeck's already been gone through, unfortunately hitting that just under the Dweller there.
What is that a fusion summon?
Kaleido, right? I think.
We could go for Window as well.
He doesn't run Window.
Yeah. Oh, doesn't he? Okay, that's
I think it has to be exactly Drago Stapelia.
Yeah, there is no win there indeed. True.
Yeah, I don't. There's a Rhino, there's a Merly, but I don't think we have the other material for Kaleido here, unfortunately.
We have 2 more cards on hand, so maybe there's a way into Kaleido too.
Yeah, potentially. We do have a response here, though, it looks like.
We have Dimensional Barrier, right?
Oh, true. We still have that Dimensional Barrier. We didn't even activate it last turn. Dweller was enough last turn, and now Lukas is like, sure, go ahead and Fusion Summon. I don't know what it should do, but worst case, it will trigger the Pearl Rhino here, which I'm afraid of.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand.
That Dimensional Barrier could have not only taken away the possibility to Fusion Summon, but also the possibility to trigger that Pearl Rhino. Now you will have to deal with that later on. And I mean, if we now just target the Dimension Barrier, you would have rather activated it, I think.
Yeah, well, I think maybe what Lukas is trying to do here is to just make Nets be forced to do it, right? Because if the Pearl Rhino doesn't pop the D barrier in this turn, you're just letting them keeping it for your turn. So I think it's probably debatable in a way that that was actually the right way to play it.
And there is Verizon now.
What I would have, I was going to say, what I would really love to see is, you know, Lukas was like clearly debating whether to flip the Dimensional Barrier with the card. So maybe if he'd just done it with the other card, it might have been a really fun bluff.
True, true. So Lukas summoning the Rasen into the column of the Dragostapelia, and it's noteworthy that that is now negated because of the Dimension Barrier. So it cannot negate the Rasen anymore.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too difficult to get rid of the Dragostapelia with the effect of Rasen, make a new rock.
Oh,
okay, all right.
Okay. We have a way for another Rasen here through the Infernoble equip spell.
So we should have the reveals required in our hands now to trigger the Rasen if we need to.
Yeah, you're gonna. I'm not sure all the attribute combinations you need for Rasen. I think it might be Fire and Dark to destroy a monster. It looks like he's activating the effect and revealing Fire and Dark. So
yeah,
there
that
we
is
go.
absolutely what it is, Fire and Dark. So that Dragostapelia is gone, but does Lukas have a way to get 6,500 damage here on the field? Because that's all he needs, and he could end it here in this turn. Is there a way for him? Because I don't think Gabriel has any further interruption here.
You have to keep in mind that all of his monsters will be reduced by 500.
Very fair point, absolutely.
But he does have that Heavy Borger effect, so if he can resolve the Heavy Borger,
there is
which
the Heavy Borger.
So that's 2. He's going to be able to trigger the Heavy Borger now, and once again during Gabe's turn. So this is a lot of damage.
It absolutely is. Gabe down to 5,000 life points. Bailey is being revealed. Bailey is being summoned. Bailey's is huge too.
Yeah, this is 47 here. So 300. Can we tag out the Borger on Gabe's turn and then just special summon negate before we can get Sulik online?
We can do it in the main phase. Although, did we not use the rock to summon Heavy Borger? So I guess you could just tag it out now, and then you can use Heavy Borger in the standby phase before Gabe might have any way to get a Tillman on the field to use the Sulliak or anything like that.
But yeah, indeed, Gabriel is down to less than 1,500 life points. So he's, as we used to call, in Borger range.
Borger range.
And therefore, we gotta figure out, oh, but I think he just picked up another copy of Super Polymerization. So is there a way to maybe take care of this? Wait, we're not tagging out?
Well, you have to let Gabe take the first action in the main phase.
Sure, there comes the Borger.
Nothing to fuse into here. On the summon here, as turn player, Gabriel does have priority, I think, to activate a card. So before Lukas can actually trigger this Borger,
the Super Polymerization can be activated. And
because the Mud Dragon is back. Yes, the Mud Dragon is back in the action deck. I think the draw of Super Polymerization might be
there. It is. It's relevant.
Card here for Gabriel.
That's incredible.
And that is saving him here. He would have been done. It would have been over. But he has the Super Polymerization from the top. What a pickup here.
Wow, that was absolutely clutch. And you know, we were discussing whether you should have activated the Dimensional Barrier last turn. If you'd used the Dimensional Barrier last turn, the Mud Dragon would be in the graveyard.
There's a tier cache here. Okay, we've got 2 more mills available to us, as
and
well
also
as
the mill. Yeah, exactly. Rhino can just send whatever he likes.
I think we can go for a Kaleido Heartline here with this Havness effect in the grave. Wow.
That is so incredibly powerful. That card that he picked up there, the Super Polymerization, might turn into his favorite card because it just brought him back into this game after he was already basically done. Oh, there's the Scream now as well. What a match.
This is going incredibly well. I mean, you really needed to draw something as an answer to Borger. And, you know, you remember we had that brief conversation once upon a time, how long was it, 2 turns ago, when he said that he preferred to go for the burn effect of Borger rather than the draw? Turned out that would have won him the game, but Gabriel with that clutch Super Poly top deck saved him.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I think Lukas played this pretty good because he got himself into a position where he would have won the game if Gabe not picks up that one super polymerization, but he did. And now Gabriel has plenty of options to just win it here.
Don't you just love the way tier limit players fan out their graveyards? I mean, what do we do? Is this is Gabriel's just got his binder on the field at this point?
Yep, he is. He's just carefully looking for the card that he needs. There's a card destruction in his graveyard. That's so nice.
Yeah, you have to be careful when you're trying to fusion summon because, you know, there's so many different combinations. It can be a bit confusing because you can shuffle them back into the deck. You might have them banished. Anything could have happened, really. So you have to...
Oh, did he not trigger Havness?
Looks like
I think we're in an open game state right now.
Yeah, it looked like he went to overlay his 2 monsters. So I guess there was nothing to summon, maybe, because the Drago's Tapeli is gone and...
Do we now just summon our own Abyss Dweller and run over the one from our opponent? Because
looks
ours
like
is
this
bigger.
Bahamut Shark is going to come back.
Oh, of course! And that is a pretty handy card to summon, but Imperm on the Bahamut Shark there. But let's pay cost first, of course. Now swinging over the Abyss Dweller. We can attack with it after we got negated on the effect activation, but that leaves Gabriel without a Telemans monster on the field. But we could technically still go into the Zeus here. And I mean, Zeus could trigger the Sully, could trigger the Scream. We could trigger quite a few things by just activating Zeus here, using it basically as an extender.
Just wondering if I'm missing something as to why we didn't make Kaleido Heart with the Havness send off of Rhino.
Oh, I think we maybe just preferred the Bahamut Shark.
I think so. Okay.
Well, I mean, keep in mind, like the Kaleido Heart's very good too.
Yeah,
the Bahamut Shark, it gets the Zeus and the Toad.
Yeah, I suppose Zeus Toad was maybe what I was thinking about, but it just seems like with the Kaleido Heart, you'd have Sullic live there. That'd feel maybe really good.
Oh, Rasen was picked up. Do we just immediately send the Rasen and all of the other cards on the field? We are clearing the entire field here, and sure, we're going to trigger our cards, but if Lukas has a way to keep on going after that, that might be strong still. Oh, and Gabriel is shaking his head. He's realizing maybe there is a continuation of play there for Lukas.
There is, yeah. He's just added the Panthera, which can special summon itself if you don't control any other monsters in your main monster
Do we still
zone.
have the Borger? No, that's fused away into the graveyard, but we can maybe add it back and then summon, and then that potentially might be enough.
Yeah, Rock of the Vanquisher #3, but there is still the Tearlament Kashtira in hand.
Let's not forget about it. We just search for that, yes. Okay. Now it's getting really intense. Around 6 minutes left here on the clock. Lukas now seeing a chance. It's going back and forth. It looked like Gabriel just turned it around, but he cannot... Yeah, like he realizes that Pantera Surge is so good.
Yeah, I mean, this third Rock of the Vanquisher is going to be super relevant here, and I think Lukas sees the line here. You know, he activates the Rock of the Vanquisher. He's going to activate the effect to add back, and that is the Rasen, I think we've added back there.
Indeed it is.
Yeah, so during Gabriel's turn, right, we can just summon the Rasen out with the Rock of the Vanquisher and then add the third Heavy Borger, and that should then tag it out. Can Gabriel draw anything to interrupt it?
Okay.
Maybe another super polymerization. No, I mean...
The Mud Dragon is gone.
Okay,
Main phase, Tearlament Cash, special summon Rasen.
Is it this time going to be the case? Lukas tries for a second time to maybe get a Borger for the final burn. Is this going to be decided by burn damage, or will Gabriel go through this?
Do we have a Shuffler in the grave maybe at all?
I don't think so, honestly.
Special summons out the Tier Cash here.
But we could hit one with this one here. Of course.
Chaining one Tier Cash, chaining to Rasen. There comes Heavy Borger. We saw the hand. DD Crow, Caesar Valius.
That is the third copy of the Heavy Borger. Gabriel gives the deck back. We mill Tier Cash Shiren. Okay, that's workable with.
Good,
but
how do we interrupt this Heavy Borger?
Yeah, 1,300 life points, 1,500 burn. I mean, do the math.
Yeah. I think Gabriel is already doing the math in his head. Lukas is happy to present his group project as well. Oh, we activate the DD Crow. There comes a Borger as well, though.
Does Borger not need a Dark monster?
Borger needs an Earth and a Fire monster.
Oh, well, that's that then.
Oh.
There it is, 1500 burn damage for Gabe. Lukas has taken this all despite Nesta's best efforts there. Unbelievable. The Borger for game over the course of 3 burns, I think, that game?
3 burns.
Wow.
That was absolutely mental. The way this game went down, going back and forth. He draws the Destiny card from the top with the super polymerization. But still, Lukas on the following turn then is going to burn for 1,500. Incredible game there.
Yeah, that was a truly epic finish. Like, Gabriel drawing that super polymerization to survive for 1 more turn. It looked like he'd taken over the game. You know, he had a full field, but just enough, just pushing through just enough with the Vanquish Soul, getting in that damage and then having that extra special summon, getting out that heavy Borger and finishing off the game.
Yeah, I would like to quote Lukas before the match in the interview with Ed. He was saying, yeah, it's my first featured match, but how hard can it be? And then he presents us this match. I mean, it was very hard, but he went out on top. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know if it can ever be considered to be an easy match. That was right down to the wire. Game number 3, only 200 life points in it. Well, I suppose technically 201 life points deciding that match. Absolutely incredible scenes. Nets must be kicking himself right now. Yeah. You could tell by his demeanor that he definitely did something wrong along the course of that turn.
Absolutely. He realized as soon as that Pantera was searched, he was like, oops, that's the only way the Vanquish Soul deck can make sure to get another card into the field, because the Continue was already out because we used that in turn 1, but he found a way still through the Pantera. Interestingly enough, Pantera is not even considered a staple in deck. Some people have decided to cut that card, so it's not 100% certain that this card always is going to be there. So I understand the call of Gabriel to just go with the Zeus there, prevent everything in his mind, and then the Pantera came down.
You can never hold the Zeus there, right? Because Razin can activate its effect and destroy the Zeus if you don't.
Probably,
yeah, no,
that is indeed the case. But now, after this absolute genius match, let's hear from the genius himself. Let's hear from Lukas and his first featured match win with that.
Thank you very much, Basti. I am here with Lukas, who's just won his first ever feature match. This top 8 here in YCS Dortmund, now through to the top 4. You were saying just before this, how hard could it be? That was a heck of a duel. You had to go all the way down basically to the wire. How are you feeling at this point?
It was really hard. I mean, the whole day was rough, and now such a long game versus such a good opponent, I think, yeah. I'm really tired, actually.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. I'm not going to keep you too long because you need to gather that energy before that top 4. But let's just quickly talk about Game 3, because we saw Game 1 and 2, a lot of back and forth across both of those, Game 1 especially. But in Game 3, talk to us about what was going on, because you set up that Abyss Dweller. Did we see a D barrier in your hand as well at one point? Did you search that?
Yeah, I had Abyss Dweller and D barrier, and yeah. Unfortunately, he popped my D barrier with the Planet Blind. That was kind of unlucky, so I had to use the Dweller and couldn't keep the D barrier. But yeah, in the end, with the burn and the chip, it was enough, and I'm really happy.
At that end, DD Crow as well. I think that was that final nail in the coffin. You just seem to have everything you needed throughout the whole thing. Were you feeling pretty confident in Game 3, or was it up and down?
I feel pretty confident. I tested a lot versus Tier, and I think the matchup is pretty good because because of my cards in the main deck. So yeah, I feel pretty confident.
Well, congratulations again. I will let you go. Don't go anywhere, guys. That top 4 feature match is coming up very